Okay, hopefully my internet, I don't know, my internet's been weird lately. Okay, all right. So tell me your name and what do you do?
My name is Dr. Stephanie Shipp. I work at Apple, and I'm an inclusion and diversity business partner and strategist. And that means that I help engineer programs and process to help make the organization a more inclusive environment and to help create space for everyone to exceed and be their best self and contribute.
Oops. And where were you born and raised?
I am a Carolina girl living in a Texas world. So I was born in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I was also raised and then relocated to Austin.
And what was life like growing up in, what did you say, South Carolina?
Actually, no, North Carolina.
Or-
Life in North Carolina was amazing. The best foods, the best outdoor environment. I had an amazing family and a group of friends that I continue to stay in touch with. I also actually graduated from college there from Johnson C. Smith University, where I'm a proud HBCU alum.
And how did you get started in tech and why?
You know, my first foray into tech was an internship at IBM, where I was a summer intern and then subsequently a co-op. And my experience was measuring data centers to make certain that the servers, or at that time AS400 and thereabouts, had the right ventilation and space. And shortly after graduating, actually immediately after graduating, I joined Apple and was a tech support engineer for a number of years.
What advice would you offer someone who's looking to get into tech?
If I think of someone trying to get into tech, and if I could, I'd like to target my answer towards women who are seeking to get into tech. I would tell them to, particularly if you're in school, study math, take all of the coding languages that you can take, but also open your aperture to the opportunities of the types of roles that you pursue in tech. While I started out as an engineer, I've pivoted into places of program management, operations, and strategy. So just be open to the types of STEM and tech roles that may extend beyond your traditional or what people think of most of just being a product engineer.
How long have you been in Austin?
I transitioned to Austin in 1992. So it's a very different city than when I came here roughly 29 years ago.
How would you describe Austin?
You know, Austin is the best place to live in Texas. Let me start with that. It has amazing people, an amazing culture. The Black community is very close, but the community in general is very close. Amazing place to raise your family, very connected. And I love, love, love the weather because it just affords you the opportunity to be almost one with the nature and the community.
Tell us what it's like being a woman, a Black woman in tech.
You know, some may say because I'm often the only in the room and being the only sometimes woman or person of color, they may think that that would be lonely. And I would be remiss if I did not admit that. But I'll also say it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to show others the diversity that exists in my experiences and my capabilities and open up others' interest and willingness to invite others to the table to garner or gain a seat at the table. So challenging, but great opportunity.
What life lessons have you learned?
Oh, the greatest life lesson I've learned is when you fall down, get back up. Make certain that the number of times you get back up outnumber the number of times you fall. Fail fast, learn, and move on. And always remember from whence you came and reach back and help others.
Which leads us to the next question, which is how do you give back to the community?
I am very fortunate and blessed that I am a member of two very distinct organizations. One, the Links Incorporated, the Austin, Texas chapter, and a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So my give back happens through those two organizations. I participate as a deputy voter registrar. I do mentoring and coaching and counseling, and participate also at my church, which is the East 19th Street Missionary Baptist Church. So I try to find simple yet meaningful ways to involve and engage myself in the community.
What do you see as your purpose in life?
Now, that's probably a hard question, but I will say my purpose is to enable and empower others, helping others find their superpower and lean into it and grow into it. I believe to whom much is given, much is required. And numerous people have poured into me to help me find my power within. And so that is my purpose, to help others do likewise.
How has a failure or apparent failure set you up for later success?
You know, I have had valleys and hills in my career, and it's those valley experiences that I've learned how to be resilient. I've learned fortitude, and I've also learned to ask for help. That's probably one of the biggest lessons in asking for help and being transparent about my strengths as well as my opportunity. I've been able to then grow by getting the right support or coaching for those places where I've either failed or not been as strong.
Um, so I stole some questions from Tim Ferriss. He interviews a lot of high executives, and one of them is, if you had a giant billboard anywhere with anything on it, speaking to millions, what would that message be?
Giant billboard speaking to millions. It would say, be kind is to others is free.
Do you have children?
I do. I am the proud parent of a son. His name is PJ, and a daughter, her name is Alexandria.
So what do you think your kids would say about you once you're gone?
I'm living between the dash right now. So I am living out my, not just my testimony, but my eulogy. And so my kids will say, my mother loved us unconditionally. Actually, they would say she loved us more than air, and that she inspired us and she supported us and believed in us in times when I didn't believe in they may not have believed in themselves, but they would also say she held us accountable and helped us find ourselves, whatever that path looked like.
What's one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made? Could be anything: money, time, energy, whatever.
Education. Education has been one of the best investments. It's a commitment of not only your finances, but of your time, and things that you learn. No one can take those things from you, and they offer you the ability to be flexible. It's utility information that you can, and it's fungible. It helps you apply it in various situations. So I would say my education of both my undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral degree have been my best investments.
What's an unusual habit or absurd thing that you love?
I don't know if it's unusual or absurd, but I do have a passion for shoes. I am about 5'4", so shoes afford me the opportunity to be closer to 5'8", 5'9" on any given day.
I love it. I love it. In the last 5 years, what new belief or behavior or habit has improved your life?
Self-care. Self-care, has really been something over the last few years I have leaned into. I work in a tech space. Life in tech is very fast, very stressful, and you are moving from one program, one product uh, to another. And oftentimes you look back and you realize you really have not paused. And so in recent years, I have leaned into intentionally making space and time for self-care and for myself, which is not a selfish thing to do because it affords me the opportunity to revive, replenish, and then come out stronger and faster for that next uh, challenge or event.
What purchase of $100 or less has positively impacted your life over the last year or so?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. A purchase of $100 or less that has impacted my life. Um, Maybe a plane ticket. Um, Plane ticket home. I said I was from Charlotte, North Carolina, so a plane ticket home last December. Happened to catch a sale on Southwest, and I was able to go home to Charlotte, North Carolina, and spend some time with some childhood friends. And in the midst of the pandemic, when we still didn't have a vaccine, uh, pausing and spending that time with people who love me and I love them afforded me the opportunity to do just what I talked about self-care, which is to pour into myself and just pause and be in the moment and really appreciate life because it comes at you fast and in a twinkling of an eye, it can be gone.
My kid, he's homesick today and he's humming the Flight of the Bumblebee.
Oh,
Like, what is that?
I
Stop
love it.
it. Like, stop it. He's a drummer. So it's like he's always tapping on something. Um, what is the best place you've ever lived?
I've only lived in two places. I'm probably, some folks never live anyplace else. I've lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Austin, Texas. And I love and enjoy Austin, plan on making it my home for the foreseeable future. But home is where the heart is. And so I would say Charlotte is probably the best place because it's the place where I had an amazing upbringing with family and friends.
Who's your favorite person?
My mother, she's 80 years old. She is feisty and smart, and she is who I want to be when I grow up, and she's where I get my work ethic. She is the person who poured into me and made space for me to be my best self. And so I would say she's my favorite person. Quickly followed by my kids, and I put them together.
In the last 5 years, what have you become better at saying no to?
Doing more, I've started to say more to doing things that I don't have time for, to overextending myself. That's probably the better way to put it. So I am comfortable saying, yes, I can do that, but this is the time frame, but definitely comfortable saying, no, I cannot do that today or within a time frame that does just not work for my schedule
And what is
or does
that?
not or doesn't afford me to lean into that self-care that I talked about.
That was what I was going to ask. When you feel overwhelmed or unfocused, how do you get back into center?
Oh, prayer. I'm a person of faith. I know from whom my blessings flow and where my strength comes from. And so in those moments of confusion, doubt, off center, I just pause and pray.
What's your favorite book or a book that your favorite book or one you'd recommend?
I have a favorite book by Minda Hart, and it is titled A Seat at the Table. It's got a longer title, but it's by Minda Hart, Minda, and last name Hart, Hart. The seat at the table that talks about how Black women in particular can earn their seat at the table and their journey to the seat at the table. And it was just very empowering for me. I read it over a Christmas break, and it just helped me center and find more confidence in self, and actually helped me with a bit of imposter syndrome that I think we all periodically struggle with.
What do you want to leave to the world?
And I want to leave the gift of connectedness. I love to meet people and help people make connections, not only for personal reasons, but for professional reasons, because I believe we are stronger together than we are individually. And so I want to leave the gift of a lot of people with a lot of amazing relationships that from that they can go on and grow and do amazing, innovative, positive things for the world.
Um, what do you enjoy doing in your leisure time?
Reading. I love to read. Um, One of the books I most recently read was The Private Librarian by Victoria Christopher Murphy. And it it's a historical fiction about a young woman who was the personal librarian for J.P. Morgan, and she was living a dual life. She was actually a Black woman living the life of a white woman. And so it talks about her life and her journey. Very intriguing.
What does it mean to be chosen as one of the top 10 Black technologists?
It is such a humbling opportunity for which I am extremely grateful. I've worked in the tech industry in a various roles over 35 plus years, and I've often been the only woman in the room or the only Black person in the room. So to be acknowledged amongst this amazing, esteemed group of individual, like I said, is very humbling, and I'm very appreciative of the honor.
Well, that was my last question. Do you have anything else you'd like to share?
You know, to someone out there who may be a first generation college student like I am, I would tell you to lean into that. It's not where you start, it's how you finish, to forge forward. And once you make it, because you will make it, if you stick to it and you have the fortitude, don't forget from whence you've come, because to whom much is given, much is required. Lean in, reach back, bring somebody forward, and just remember that there are always going to be bad moments, but don't let the bad moment overtake the entire day. Find something positive in every day that you're afforded the opportunity to get to see. And laugh a lot. Laugh a lot at what's going on, and sometimes laugh at yourself because it will definitely help you make it through.
That's awesome. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.